Welcome to ILTV's Israel Daily. I'm Amit Harari, and coming up in today's newscast. President Herzog's historic speech to Congress garnering 30 standing ovations, emphasizing indispensable bond between Israel and the U.S. Meantime, Israel and United States launching month-long visa waiver trials starting today. And finally, a taste of the Holy Land's finest experts with ILTV's Wine of the Week. In an historic address to both houses of the U.S. Congress, President Herzog said that vilifying Israel was equal to anti-Semitism. To a standing ovation, the president said that allowing Iran to become a nuclear threshold state was unacceptable and declared the friendship between Washington and Jerusalem to be irreplaceable. ILTV's Steve Leibovich reports.
President Isaac Herzog's speech to the U.S. Congress received 30 standing ovations from American lawmakers. Herzog told the joint session of Congress that Israel and the U.S. are irreplaceable for one another. This was only the second time an Israeli president had been invited to speak before both houses of Congress, with his father, President Chaim Herzog, having been the first 35 years ago. In the 40-minute speech, Herzog emphasized Israel's commitment to reaching peace with all of its Arab neighbors, but said the Palestinians answer with violence.
My deep yearning, Mr. Speaker, is for Israel to one day make peace with our Palestinian neighbors. Over the years, Israel has taken bold steps towards peace and made far-reaching proposals to our Palestinian neighbors. However, true peace cannot be anchored in violence.
Herzog said that current differences between the Biden administration and the Netanyahu government were between friends.
I respect criticism, especially from friends, although one does not always have to accept it. But criticism of Israel must not cross the line into negation of the state of Israel's right to exist. Questioning the Jewish people's right to self-determination is not legitimate diplomacy, it is anti-Semitism.
To sustained applause, Herzog told Congress, although Israel is working through issues, democracy is strong and resilient. Israel has democracy in its DNA, said the president. Herzog told Congress that Israel's democracy is based on an independent judiciary, and he was doing everything he could to secure consensus for judicial reforms.
Dear friends, it's no secret that over the past few months, the Israeli people have engaged in a heated and painful debate. We have been immersed in voicing our differences and revisiting and renegotiating the balance of our institutional powers in the absence of a written constitution. In practice, the intense debate going on back home, even as we speak, is the clearest tribute to the fortitude of Israel's democracy.
President Herzog called on the U.S. and Israel to stand together to confront the security challenges presented by Iranian aggression and nuclearization.
Perhaps the greatest challenge Israel and the United States face at this time together is the Iranian nuclear program. Let there be no doubt, Iran does not strive to attain nuclear energy for peaceful purposes.
The Israeli president was clearly a hit in Congress.
Experience the power of truth with ILTV News. If you're looking for quality content and captivating visuals, join our news community and become an integral part of our team as we embark on a mission to unveil the real Israel, dismantling the web of lies and misinformation that surround reporting on Israel. By subscribing to ILTV News, you will not only have access to the latest updates, but you will also amplify our message, creating a ripple effect that carries the truth far and wide. Subscribe today and help reshape the narrative. Available on the web, Android, and Apple.
And now to analyze President Herzog's impressive speech in Congress, best is with us journalist and JNS Jerusalem Bureau Chief Alex Strayman. Alex, certainly an historic moment in U.S.-Israel relations, with Israeli president addressing both houses of Congress for only the second time. What were your main takeaways from the speech?
Well, despite the tensions that certainly exist between the two nations, Israel and the United States, especially in the midst of Israel's ongoing judicial reform crisis, the relationship between Israel and the United States is rooted in significant mutual interests, and the nature of the alliance is still very strong. And you could really see that from the 30 different standing ovations that Herzog received. And I think that he did a fantastic job of threading a lot of precarious needles to demonstrate how strong the relationship is, how deep it's rooted, and how important Israel is as an ally to the United States. Even more than what people understand about how important an ally America is to the state of Israel.
He definitely touched upon many subjects. Now, Alex, Herzog emphasized the point of friendship between Jerusalem and Washington, but also spent quite a bit of time on the issue of democracy and Israeli judicial reform. Did he do a fair job in presenting the current divisions in Israel?
I think that he did. Like I said, he tried to thread a needle. He made some allusions, but didn't suggest that the reforms are illegal in any way. He said that Israel will continue to have an independent judiciary, and I think that even proponents of judicial reform want for the Supreme Court to be an independent and strong judiciary, just with certain limits. And he also made references to the democratically elected government of the state of Israel, which I think gives a lot of credit to the voters that put this government in place specifically to advance judicial reform. So I think that the timing of this visit is indeed precarious for Herzog, and perhaps that's why it was so important and so historic. And I think that most Israelis from right to left think that the Israeli president did a tremendous job of extolling the benefits of the relationship.
Definitely. Now, Prime Minister Netanyahu, he would certainly have liked to be there in Washington addressing Congress, but the invitation really went to Herzog. Bibi was certainly the most popular Israeli political figure, but not invited to Congress, of course, since taking office. How is everything that's happening in Israel really affecting Netanyahu's image, really, in Washington's eyes?
Well, perhaps it was an advantage that it was Herzog that received the invitation, because if it was Netanyahu that had received the invitation to make this address, you might have seen many, many more protests than just the 8 far-left Democratic congressmen and Senator Bernie Sanders that chose not to attend. It's certain that Netanyahu over the years has now played into the partisan divides that exist within the United States, both because of his direct opposition to Barack Obama's Iran nuclear deal, and also because of his very, very warm embrace of President Trump, which actually yielded tremendous benefits for the state of Israel, but doesn't really work with Democrats. You know, I think that probably Biden and Netanyahu would wish that Netanyahu's invitation wasn't a big part of the story. Netanyahu probably does not need to go to Washington for himself. I mean, he's been there, as you've noted, many, many times before. And it's just that this issue of the invitation is being used as a kind of leverage to identify the Biden administration's disappointment with Netanyahu and his right-wing coalition's policies. But you know what? I think that the alliance is going to survive this judicial reform crisis just as soon as Israel moves past it.
Alex, really shortly in a few sentences. So where are we in U.S.-Israel relations really after 30 standing ovations for the president in Washington? Really was a very impressive part of the speech.